Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Friday, February 21st, 2025. And wow, what a night. What a night. You wake up this morning, excitement starting to build for the last crescendo, the big Riad fight card. And we have another saga, another bit of controversy. Daniel Dubois is out of the heavyweight title fight with Joseph Parker. Wow. Geez, we talk about kicking you when you were down. I mean, look, I wasn't that stressed about the Floyd Schofield pull-out with Shakur Stevenson because, look, it was just one of those fights that I thought that if I get up and see it, I get up and see it. It's no really big drama, and I don't think it really added a lot to the card. I don't think there's a lot of people out there saying, wow, have you seen the Riad card of Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield? What a fight that'll be, and I can't wait. Hasn't really been mentioned in that aspect. But I tell you what, the Daniel Dubois-Joseph Parker fight has. And apparently Daniel Dubois is ill. There's been nothing said whether it's to do with what happened to Floyd Schofield. This is the other thing that's going around at the moment. Is there a poisoning pandemic or something in Riad? There's some things amiss. But all they're saying at the moment is that he is ill. Now, that could mean a lot of things. Obviously, it's not from making weight like Floyd Schofield, but or other shenanigans going on if you listen to his dad, but he's ill. So it must have been something significant. You would have thought that it's enough for him to pull out of defending his heavyweight title. I mean, it's a big fight. This is not a Floyd Schofield situation where, you know, it's a young kid, the BBFC, whatever it is, Boxing Board of Control, whatever they're called, who are policing things over there in Saudi Arabia. They actually pulled Schofield out apparently, and they've done the same thing with Dubois. Actually, I'm not sure whether they've done it or Dubois' team's done it, but as I said, it must be significant if it's enough to make him pull out of a massive fight. And yeah, it's just added to the whole thing, hasn't it? All of a sudden, it's not probably the card we thought it was, or is it? Now, maybe we haven't got that heavyweight title fight on there, but Joseph Parker will now fight Martin Bakole. And I don't know about you, but I'm not that stressed about the change. Obviously, I feel for Joseph Parker not getting a chance to fight for the world title against Daniel Dubois, and I was really looking forward to that fight. But I tell you what, Bakole is he's a replacement of all replacements, isn't he? A big, dangerous guy. And the thing is, I think it's a massive risk for Parker, and credit to him, I will say. Credit to Joseph Parker for saying, I still want to fight. There's whoever you can get, I'm ready to go. And that just adds to the respect that I have, and I'm sure you and a lot of other fight fans out there have for Joseph Parker, that he said, hey, you know what, I'm happy to fight. But they haven't just brought in who was the guy that's fighting Shakur? Padley. They haven't brought in a Padley for him. They've brought in one of the biggest, baddest, most dangerous heavyweights in the world, and he's accepted. And the thing is that Bakole, on 3 days' notice, has been able to step in. It's a credit to him as well. Obviously keeps himself in good nick. But, you know, with Joseph not getting an opportunity fight for the world title, I've got to admit, I'm not sure whether he's going to get that title shot at all now, because I've got a feeling Bakole is probably one of the worst guys he could have fought, because Bakole reminds me a little bit of the second coming of George Foreman, but a little younger, a little bit quicker on his feet, but the same sort of style. A massive, big heavyweight who stands right in front of you, can take a punch and just keeps at you. Nothing graceful about him, but the way he dismantled Jared Anderson in his last fight, what was that, back in August, was so impressive. I'll be honest, I think he takes Joseph Parker out. And this is, I know it sounds a bit silly because I picked Joseph Parker to beat Daniel Dubois, but this is a whole new ball game. Martin Bakole a lot bigger, punches a lot harder, and just the guy who's not going to. Well, Dubois can, he's happy to box a little bit. He's happy to punch a little bit. He can do a little bit of everything, but he's not a dangerous heavyweight. Good fighter, but not a dangerous fighter. Martin Bakole is a big, bad, dangerous heavyweight. And look, maybe, we look at what Joseph Parker did with Wilder and Zhilei Zhang. Now, probably discount the Deontay Wilder fight because different styles. Wilder is just all over the place. He's all arms and legs. Yes, he can punch, I understand that, but he's all arms and legs and was exposed by a really talented, tight, skilled boxer in Joseph Parker. Probably the first one he'd probably fought in his career, and I'm not counting Tyson Fury because, again, different styles. But this, and I'm probably putting Zhilei Zhang as probably the most like Bakole, I suppose, just in terms of size and his aggression and maybe his punching power, although I think Bakole is a bigger puncher. But the difference here is that Bakole is pretty mobile for a big guy. As I said, he's actually quite fast with his hands and good on his feet. He's not fast on his feet, but he's well balanced. He steps in the right positions like George Foreman used to do. But he's just a younger version of that second coming of George Foreman. And I might be talking him up just a little bit too much, but I just think this is, even though I admire Joseph Parker for taking this fight, it's great that the organisers have been able to do this on 3 days' notice, but I'll be honest, I think it's a bad fight for Joe. I think this could end badly for him. I think Bakole's style is just all wrong. I don't think Joseph Parker can back him up. I don't think he can hurt him. And you just get the impression that Bakole is just going to hunt Joseph Parker down. And again, I can't believe I'm saying this because I've been so high on Joseph Parker's chances of beating Dubois. And here I am saying he's going to get knocked out by Bakole. But look, I'm happy to be proven wrong because, look, sometimes fighters that look sensational against lesser lights, when they come up against really good opposition, get exposed. But I just don't think Bakole is that type of fighter. I just think, this is potentially going to end badly for Joe Parker. And if it does, I feel for him because he's not going to get a shot at that world title. Because you saw that Joe Joyce was able to get to Joseph Parker as the fight went on. And maybe Dubois might have done that as well. Who knows? I just thought that him being a little bit more sort of mechanical, Daniel Dubois, that Parker had a really good shot of outboxing him over 12 rounds. But Bakole's not mechanical. As I've said a couple of times, he's just big, he's bad, he can punch, and it's very hard to back up. And that's why I'm not sure whether Joseph Parker has got the size and power and strength. He's certainly got the speed and technique to maybe outbox Bakole, but it's a long time in there. 12 rounds is a hell of a long time. I'm not sure whether this is 12 rounds, to be honest. I'm assuming that they'll still keep it as 12 because I think they were even talking about making this an IBF interim title fight, which would be fair because at least that gives Joe the ability that if he wins, he's got the IBF belt and then he's guaranteed that shot at Dubois afterwards. Do you think that maybe they should have done what they did to poor Alexander Usyk and say to Dubois, well, you can't defend it. We're going to strip you and let these guys fight for the belt and you can fight from afterwards. That's pretty harsh, and obviously it's not going to happen, but geez, they do some weird things, the IBF and the other sanctioning bodies, but I think the IBF interim title makes a hell of a lot of sense, and it's a great fight. And initially when I saw that Dubois was out, I was like, oh, well, that's really going to put a dent in the so-called biggest fight card in history. But I tell you what, it mightn't have the stakes there as far as the belt. And Dubois is certainly a lot bigger name than what Bakole is. But I'll tell you what, as far as quality of fights for the real boxing fans out there, I think this is a real adequate replacement. And I can't wait. I think it's going to be a ripper. I finally bought the fight yesterday. I just forgot that I hadn't bought it, to be honest. So I jumped on there and not bad, $42 or $41.99, so $42 for the fight. I mean, and here we are a couple of weeks later paying $70 for Brock Jarvis versus Keith Thurman. Again, that's probably another episode. But $42. So the card now will be, so I'm assuming this will still be the co-main. I don't know. You would assume so. I've got the fight card here. I know you probably know it off by heart, but we'll just do the confirmed fight card at this stage. Who knows what else is going to happen? The last 2 days we've had someone pull out. I don't want to curse anybody, but geez, I would, should I even say it? I'll be touching wood later if Madrimov or Ortiz go down, because that's the other fight that I was really looking forward to. The big three, of course, the main event, and then it was Dubois and Parker, and then Madrimov and Ortiz as a close second after that. But yeah, let's hope not. All right, so the other fights on the cards, of course, Shakur Stevenson now is facing Josh Padley, as we know. Madrimov is still up against Ortiz for the WBC interim 154-pound belt. Callum Smith against Joshua Buatsi for the WBO interim 175-pound belt. Carlos Adames will still fight Hamza Shiraz for the WBC middleweight belt, so 160. Zhilei Zhang is still, that's a really good fight too, by the way. Ajit Kabel for the WBC interim heavyweight title. Now, I must admit, when I first saw the headline, I must have been half asleep, because I initially I thought it was Bakole was the one fighting Zhilei Zhang. Of course, it's Kabel. So I was like, wow, now who's Zhilei Zhang going to fight? Because I thought, you know, now what happens? But it's actually turned out all right as far as the card goes. And it doesn't matter. As I said, I'm still really looking forward to it. Of course, it's all about the main event, so who really cares? But I reckon if you had sat down and said, all right, if one of these fighters goes down in Dubois or Parker, who would you like to step up? It was probably Martin Bakole, isn't it? On short notice, that is too. So, yeah. So anyway, what do you guys think about that? I might do my official predictions tomorrow. I think I will, because I doubt I'll actually do a walking boxing on Sunday. I might do a review, but I'm not, you know, because it'll probably end at about lunchtime and I'll be up at about 5 in the morning. Yes, 5 in the morning, not 2:30. It's the best I can do, guys. I'm 50 years old. I'm not getting up at 2:30 in the morning, but 5 o'clock, I think that should be when the let's say the good fights start. We might miss a one or two early on, but that's the best I can do. So I think I'll do a review of the fight afterwards. But tomorrow we might do a proper preview of the whole thing. Now, also this weekend, of course, well, not this weekend, on Monday, spoke a little bit about it. Sort of been lost in the mix a little bit. Jason Mayhem Moloney over there in Japan, and just being treated like an absolute superstar over there. And I love it. But while I love it, it also pisses me off that fighters like him, and not just Jason, but all these other elite fighters that we have, world champions. I mean, Jai gets nothing that we always talk about. Me and Paro didn't get a lot. You know, you know the story. But I just think it's great that he's over there in Japan in front of packed press conference, a packed press conference crowd. You know, paparazzi chasing him, and you know, packing the gym when he works out. I just think it's awesome, and this is probably why a lot of our fighters go overseas, because this is what they're subject to. In Australia, it's like they're after the, you know, the top guys, and then the other ones sort of fall away pretty quick. But I think it's great for him, and tough one for him though. Tenshin was it Nakasawa? I think that's his name. Only had the 4 or 5 fights as a pro, but I think he had about 100 karate fights, a lot of other experience in combat sports, so he'll be tough. It was obviously in that exhibition with Floyd Mayweather. Now apparently he has is it over 1 million fans on Instagram over there, which is probably why they love him to be on the cards, because he's a massive draw. And I think he's got about 900,000 people on one of the other, Snapchat or whatever the hell it is they're on, one of the other things anyway. But a very, very well followed fighter. And look, Jason by right should take care of business. He really should. I mean, he's experienced, he's seasoned, former world champion, of course, first fight since May last year. But this is the fight he needs to win. And a lot of people are saying, why would you take the risk and go to Japan? Well, what else is he going to do? He's in a position now where the top-ranked thing at this stage has fallen over. He needs, at 34 years of age, to take this type of fight, because if he wins this fight, there might be the potential of fighting the winner of the main event. That's probably going to be Junto Nakatani. And, of course, that would have a lot of theatre about it, because Nakatani's the one that knocked out his brother Andrew, so it would have a lot of theatre about that and everything else. But yeah, it'll be that would be a ripper fight. But you can't blame Jason and his team for rolling the dice now, because I have heard, you know, some grizzles out there. Well, why is he going to Japan? Some massive risks. It's hard to win over there. Well, of course it's hard to win over there. It's elite world professional boxing, and look, I've got no doubt the payday would be great. As I said, the attention has been great, and the opportunities at the end of it are going to be great. And I would love to see Jason get a crack at Nakatani if that does happen. But if not, there's plenty of other fights at that weight for Jason. Japan owns pretty much all the belts at the moment in those lower weights, apart from Bam Rodriguez. So, yeah, massive stakes for Jason. So that's going to be apparently live on Fox Sports on Monday night. So check your guides for that. And it's about time Fox have shown this fight for free. You would think normally they might charge $30 or whatever it might. They still charge just actually, what was it? 30, 40, 50 bucks, whatever it is, for the Inouye fight that he had with Kim. And we're getting the Jason Moloney fight for free. So I don't know, it all doesn't make sense to me sometimes, but I don't care because I can't wait to see Jason on Monday night, and he's free on Fox. So that's great. Here's a quick one for you as well. You probably follow this channel, you know that we've just taken on the pub, and we're opening in another week, I think it is. Our first night we're going to open is the Liam Wilson Yusuf Dib fight. And I talked to the Foxtel guy the other day, and I said, well, what do these fights cost to put on? Now, you would expect some of the money for the big fights, you know, up to like $1,000 for the big fights, and I don't like it, but that's the way it is. He told me that the Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach fight, which I think is the second, so the day after, $900 to put on in the pub. So even though we've been promoting ourselves as the home of combat sports in Bendigo, I'm not showing that fight. I'm willing to cop it. Can you imagine on a Sunday afternoon paying $900 for the fight, probably $60 now for a staff member to man the bar? That's a hell of an expensive day when we'll probably get 3 people in the lounge to watch it. That is just bizarre. But apparently it's not Foxtel or Main Event that set the price. It is the promoter. So maybe keep that in mind when you're going to town on No Limit or wherever it might be. It is the promoters who set the price, not the station. So just remember that. So just a bit of information there for you. But guys, look, I think that's going to do. Hopefully we don't have more dramas tomorrow. Also, we'll talk about it and preview all the fights in depth as well. So have a great Friday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.